The shuttle hummed softly as it pierced through the thick atmosphere, its thrusters adjusting to the strange winds of ancient Earth. Outside, the landscape stretched endless and wild vast forests with towering trees unknown to any recorded species, mist rolling off jagged mountain peaks, and rivers glinting like silver snakes in the fading light. Commander Myra Voss pressed her hand against the viewport, eyes sharp beneath the visor of her helmet. After years of training and countless missions to distant worlds, this was unlike anything she had ever seen. Earth, but not as it was now. This was Earth before humanity's rise, before cities and machines. A world untouched and ancient. Status. Report, she called to the co-pilot, calm voice cutting through the shuttle's ambient hum. All systems nominal, Commander. Landing site coordinates locked. Estimated touchdown in 5 minutes. Around her, the rest of the team checked. Their gear archaeologists, scientists, exobiologists, each ready to uncover secrets lost to time. Their mission was straightforward: study Earth's prehistoric past and collect data that could rewrite history. But no one spoke of the stories whispered in the mission briefing's ancient legends. Myths told in hushed tones about beings that once ruled the planet, guardians of a power long forgotten. As the shuttle descended, Myra's mind wandered to those stories. Tales from Earth's deep past, dismissed as fantasy, yet compelling in their vividness. Stories of colossal creatures woven into the fabric of ancient cultures. Forgotten by time, but never fully erased. The landing zone was a vast clearing surrounded by monolithic, stone structures, ruins carved with intricate patterns and symbols that pulsed faintly with an otherworldly glow. The moment the shuttle touched down, the ground vibrated ever so slightly beneath their feet, as if the planet itself was waking from a long sleep. The hatch opened with a hiss. The explorers stepped onto the ancient soil, the air thick with the scent of Earth and something older, something beyond their understanding. Cameras and scanners immediately began capturing every detail, the patterns etched into the stones, the towering pillars that seemed to reach for the sky, the silence that pressed in around them. Dr. Kieran Malik, the team's lead archaeologist, knelt to examine the ground. These ruins, they're older than any civilization we've known. The craftsmanship, it's unlike anything documented in human history. Myra nodded, her eyes scanning the horizon. And yet, here we are, standing in the middle of a mystery. Suddenly, the ground beneath their feet shuddered. The vibration was subtle at first, barely perceptible. Then it grew stronger, a deep, rhythmic pulse emanating from somewhere far below. "It's coming from beneath the ruins," Kieran said, voice tight with unease. "Some kind of energy." "Or movement." Mira signaled for the team to hold position. "Stay alert. Whatever it is, we've just awakened something." The vibration spread through the air, carrying a low hum that resonated deep in their bones. Instruments went wild, readings spiking beyond any known parameters. The stones around them glowed brighter, ancient symbols flickering to life as if reacting to an unseen force. Then, as if the earth itself breathed a long-forgotten breath, a deep rumble echoed from below. Dust and small stones cascaded from cracks in the ground. The ancient guardian of legend was stirring. The explorers exchanged looks, a mix of awe and fear rippling through the group. Mira's voice was steady, but her heart pounded. This is no ordinary mission anymore. Whatever lies beneath, it's waking up. Far below, buried beneath layers of rock and time, a shadow shifted. The ancient myth, thought to be mere story, was alive and it was watching. The trembling grew stronger, shaking the ground beneath the explorers' feet. The ancient ruins, already eerie in their silent majesty, now seemed alive, as if the stones themselves were breathing. Mira's team gathered near the entrance of the central chamber, scanning the area with every tool they had. The atmosphere? was charged heavy with anticipation. "Commander?" "Sensors are detecting massive movement underground," reported Kai, the team's exobiologist, his voice tense. "Whatever it is, it's huge." Mira tightened her grip on her comm. "Keep your distance. No sudden moves. We don't know what we're dealing with." The team cautiously advanced into the chamber of vast cavern illuminated by phosphorescent markings along the walls. The air was thick and cool, carrying the faint scent of ozone. The deeper they went, the more the faint humming of energy surrounded them, growing louder with every step. Suddenly, the ground rumbled violently beneath them. The chamber shook as cracks spread along the walls, dust falling like rain. A low growl echoed, reverberating through the cavern, ancient and primal. Kai's eyes widened. "It's awake." From the shadows, a colossal figure began to rise. Its form was immense and vaguely humanoid, yet unlike any creature Mira had ever seen. Its skin resembled ancient stone, cracked and weathered, glowing faintly with blue light beneath the surface. Its eyes, vast and glowing, scanned the chamber as it slowly pulled itself free from the Earth's embrace. The team froze. The myth ones, dismissed as legends, stood before them. "Stay calm," Mira said through gritted teeth, her voice steady but her heart racing. "We don't know its intent." The creature's gaze locked onto the explorers. Its presence was overwhelming. Yet there was something in its eyes, curiosity, perhaps, or sorrow. It emitted a sound, deep and resonant, almost like a song. Vibrating through the stone, Kai activated a translator device, hoping to bridge the impossible gap. The machine crackled, catching fragments of meaning in the alien tones. "Protector, ancient, danger, away." The creature was not attacking. It was warning. Myra lowered her weapon slightly, signaling the team to relax but remain alert. "We come in peace," she said clearly. "We mean no harm to this planet or its guardians." The guardian's glowing eyes seemed to soften, though its immense form remained imposing. Suddenly, the chamber shook again, stronger this time. The guardian's eyes darted upward. Myra followed its gaze and saw fissures spreading along the cavern ceiling. The ancient power it guarded was awakening to an energy source buried for millennia. Now responding to the creature's rising, Kieran, the archaeologist, shouted over. "The noise, this energy, it's unstable. If the Guardian absorbs too much, it could destroy everything here." Mira made a quick decision. "We need to find a way to calm it down, and fast." The Guardian's voice echoed again, more urgently. This time, Kai's translator picked up phrases like balance, danger, and destroy. It was desperate, struggling to contain the power it was meant to protect. Mira looked at her team, resolve hardening. "We came here to understand Earth's past, but now we're part of its future. We have to help." As the cavern trembled and the Guardian loomed over them, the explorers prepared for what might come next. Their mission had changed. They were no longer just observers, but protectors. And somewhere deep beneath the Earth, an ancient force awoke, fully ready to decide if humanity was a threat or a hope. The chamber was thick with tension as the colossal Guardian loomed above the explorers. Its stone-like skin shimmered faintly, and the glowing eyes that pierced the dim light were both terrifying and mesmerizing. Commander Mira Voss stood her ground, feeling the weight of history and fate pressing down on her. The Guardian shifted, its immense frame causing the ground to tremble beneath it. It lowered one massive hand toward the explorers, not in aggression, but as if seeking connection. The team held their breath. Kai adjusted his translator, trying to catch the Guardian's cryptic messages. The device buzzed, picking up fragmented words and strange melodies woven into the Guardian's deep voice. "Protector, Earth, balance, danger, You. Not harm. Mira stepped forward cautiously, speaking slowly and clearly. We come from far away, from a future where Earth is almost forgotten. We mean no harm. We seek only to understand. The Guardian's eyes flickered with a strange light. For a moment, it seemed to consider her words. Then it responded not in words, but in a resonant tone that vibrated through the chamber. Filled with sorrow and warning. Threats come. From beyond, need shield. Awake to guard, Kirin. The archaeologist stepped forward, holding up a fragile stone tablet they had recovered earlier. We found this. It speaks of an ancient power meant to protect Earth from cosmic dangers, but also warns of destruction if that power falls unchecked. The Guardian's gaze lingered on the tablet. Slowly, it extended a finger, touching the carved symbols. The chamber's glowing walls brightened in response. It was created by those who knew fear. Fear of what lurks beyond stars. I am the shield, the myth, awaken to guard. Mira nodded, sensing a fragile understanding forming. Then help us. Help us keep this balance. The Guardian's eyes scanned the explorers one by one. It seemed to search for proof that these humans were different from the invaders. It once fought against long ago. Suddenly, the ground trembled again. Outside the chamber, distant rumbles shook the ruins. The Guardian's expression hardened. Power grows, unstable. Must be contained. Kai's voice was urgent. If the Guardian loses control, the entire planet could be destroyed. Myra raised her hand, signaling calm. We need to work together. We need to learn from each other. In that moment, a new thought occurred. To her, this was no longer a simple mission of exploration. It was a negotiation between species separated by time and purpose, united by a shared future. The Guardian emitted a low hum, a sound filled with both hope and fear. It bent down slowly, allowing Mira to touch its massive hand. The touch was warm, alive with energy that hummed through her suit. You, Different, it whispered through vibrations. Could be ally. Relief washed over the team. The myth was no longer a monster, but a sentinel searching for allies to protect the fragile balance of the planet. Yet Mira knew the danger was far from over. The ancient power beneath the surface was awakening too quickly, threatening to spiral out of control. We must find the source, she said. We must understand it, or everything we love could be lost. The Guardian nodded, a silent promise passing between them as the explorers prepared to venture deeper into the ancient ruins. A profound thought settled in Myra's mind. Humanities. Legends were more than stories. They were warnings and calls to action. The myth was alive, and now. So was their responsibility. The deeper the team ventured into the labyrinth beneath the ancient ruins, the heavier the air grew with history and power. Flickering bioluminescent fungi clung to the cracked walls, casting eerie shadows as the explorers moved cautiously. The glow from their helmets barely penetrated the vast darkness that stretched before them like a sleeping giant's breath. Myra led the way, her eyes sharp and alert. Beside her, Kirin carried the precious stone tablets. They had uncovered fragments of a forgotten language etched in cryptic symbols and patterns. The weight of these relics was immense. They held secrets that could explain the myth's origin and the energy threatening to unravel the planet's balance. Kai paused by an enormous doorway carved from an unknown, shimmering material. It hummed faintly, vibrating with a power beyond comprehension. This isn't just a ruin, he said softly. It's a vault. A vault built to contain something, or protect it. Mira nodded. We need to know what. With painstaking, Kirin began deciphering the inscriptions, projecting holographic translations on the chamber's walls. The ancient language spoke of a civilization long vanished, one that had risen millions of years before humans. They were not mere mortals, but an advanced race who had shaped Earth's early history. They feared cosmic threats, creatures, and forces from the void beyond the stars that could destroy worlds. They created the Guardian, Kieran explained, as a shield to protect Earth, but to power it, they bound it to a core of unimaginable energy buried deep beneath the planet's crust. That core. It's what's causing the tremors and the Guardian's awakening. Myra's gaze darkened. So, the myth isn't just a story. It's a weapon, a protector, and potentially a danger. Kai frowned, scanning the room. The energy's unstable. The balance between the Guardian and this power is breaking down. If the core overloads, it could trigger a catastrophe, a chain reaction that could tear the planet apart. The weight of their discovery pressed down on them all. They had uncovered not only the origin of the myth, but a ticking time bomb hidden for eons beneath Earth's surface. Suddenly, the chamber's floor rumbled violently. Dust and debris fell from the ceiling as the Guardian's deep voice echoed through the halls. Core, unstable. Be controlled, Mira called out. We need to find a way to stabilize it. If the core goes critical, no one will survive. Teams split into groups. Some followed the Guardian deeper into the vault, guided by its ancient knowledge, while others stayed behind to analyze the energy readings and attempt to communicate with the core itself as Mira and Kai moved through a narrow corridor. Kai suddenly stopped, staring at a wall etched with images, cosmic beasts, and celestial wars painted in stone. These aren't just myths, he said quietly. They're warnings. Stories passed down through time, meant to prepare anyone who might awaken the Guardian. Myra studied the images, feeling the weight of ages. This was Earth's forgotten history, hidden beneath layers of dust and time. Meanwhile, Kieran's group discovered a control chamber, a place where ancient devices hummed with fading power. The technology was unlike anything humanity had developed. Crystals pulsed with energy, and complex machines lay dormant but intact. This could be the key, Kieran said, her voice trembling. If we can reactivate these devices, maybe we can control the core's energy and calm the Guardian. Mira joined them, determination in her eyes. Then we don't have a moment to lose. As they worked, the Guardian waited patiently, its enormous form coiled like a sleeping giant, watching over the fragile explorers who had disturbed its ancient slumber. In that moment, it became clear the myth was no longer just a story to fear. It was a responsibility to bear. To protect Earth, they would have to master secrets lost to time and confront dangers older than humanity itself. The fate of the planet, and perhaps the galaxy, hung in the balance. The ground trembled relentlessly as the Guardian absorbed the unstable energy from the core. The ancient creature's massive form pulsed with a growing, chaotic power light flickering beneath its cracked, stone-like skin in erratic bursts. Outside the vault, the once serene planet began to convulse. Earthquakes shattered distant mountain ranges, and violent storms brewed on the horizon, turning the sky into a swirling tempest. Commander Mira Voss stood amidst the chaos, her team scattered throughout the ruins, each member frantically coordinating efforts to halt the escalating disaster. The mission that had started as an archaeological expedition had spiraled into a desperate struggle for survival, not only for themselves, but for the entire planet. We need a plan, Myra said sharply into her comlink voice, steady despite the rising panic. The Guardian is losing control. If it fully absorbs the core's energy, the resulting release will be catastrophic. Kai's voice crackled back. I'm detecting severe fluctuations in the core's energy levels. It's like a storm inside the planet, ready to break loose. Kieran was nearby, examining a holographic map of the vault's intricate systems. The ancient technology, here some of it, still functions. There are mechanisms to regulate the energy flow. If we can reactivate them, we might stabilize the core and calm the Guardian. Myra nodded. Then, that's what we do. Split in two. Two teams, one to help the Guardian maintain balance, the other to restore the control systems. The teams moved quickly. Mira stayed with the Guardian, communicating through the translator device. You must resist, she urged. Your strength is tied to the core, but if it overwhelms you, everything will be lost. The Guardian's glowing eyes met hers, filled with a mix of pain and determination. It extended a massive hand, placing it gently on Myra's shoulder, sending a tremor of energy through her suit. A connection formed a fragile bridge of trust between ancient myth and human will. Meanwhile, Kieran and Kai raced to reactivate the dormant control chamber. The machines were old, covered in layers of dust and stone, but their crystalline cores still pulsed faintly. Using a combination of ancient schematics and modern technology, the team carefully reactivated the systems, one by one. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the vault. A surge of energy coursed through the corridors, shaking the very foundations. The core is destabilizing faster than we expected, Kai shouted. We're running out of time. Kieran worked furiously, rerouting power and recalibrating the energy dampeners. If we can't bring the core under control, the Guardian won't be able to contain it either. It's a chain reaction. Back with Mira, the Guardian struggled. Visibly, its form flickering as if caught between two worlds, solid stone and raw energy. The ground beneath them cracked open, spewing molten rock and sparks. Mira gritted her teeth, refusing to give in to fear. You are Earth's protector, she said firmly. Your strength comes from balance, not destruction. The Guardian responded with a low, resonant hum, a sound both ancient and alive. Slowly, the wild energy pulses began to stabilize, though the danger was far from over. In the control chamber, Kieran found the final piece, a master control crystal, cracked but salvageable. This is it, she said. If we can replace the power source with this crystal, it should stabilize the core's output. Kai handed it to her carefully, and together they inserted the crystal into the main console. The vault shuddered violently one last time, then the alarms ceased. A wave of calm spread through the chamber and out into the planet's crust. The Guardian's form steadied, the glowing light fading to a steady, gentle pulse. Myra exhaled, feeling the tension drain from her muscles. The immediate threat had passed, but the weight of what they had faced hung heavy in the air. This isn't over, she told her team through the cum. The core is stable for now, but the Guardian's awakening has set something in motion. We need to understand what else lies beneath. The myth was alive and awake. It had been a protector, a weapon, and now, a warning. Humanity had stirred forces far older and more dangerous than they had imagined, but for the first time, they had shown they could stand alongside the myth not as enemies, but as allies, and that alliance might be the key to Earth's survival. With the immediate danger quelled, a fragile calm settled over the ruins. The Guardian stood motionless now, its glowing eyes dimmed but watchful, as if sensing a greater menace lurking beyond the vault's walls. Commander Myra Voss and her team regrouped, their faces marked by exhaustion and resolve. They had survived the core's near meltdown. But the mission was far from over. Kieran, what else have you uncovered from those tablets? Mira asked as they gathered in the control chamber, the soft hum of ancient machinery filling the silence. Kieran flipped through her digital notes, eyes scanning the translated symbols. There's more than just the core and Guardian. The tablets mention something called the Shadow Tide, a force that predated even the creators of the vault. It's described as a dark, consuming entity, a threat so immense that the Guardian was made not only to protect Earth, but to imprison it. Kai frowned. Imprison it? You mean the Guardian isn't just a protector, but also a jailer? Kira nodded grimly. Exactly. The Shadow Tide was sealed deep beneath Earth, trapped by the ancient civilization's power. But the awakening of the Guardian and the core's instability may have weakened those bonds. Myra's heart sank. They had stirred more than they intended. The myth was alivened. So was its deadliest enemy. Suddenly, the ground rumbled again. This time with a low, ominous vibration. The chamber's sensors picked up unusual readings, dark energy rippling beneath the surface, spreading like a stain. Something's breaking through, Kai said, eyes wide with alarm. Mira tightened her grip on her comm. We need to warn the Guardian. It's not just the core anymore. There's something coming. Outside, the sky darkened unnaturally. Storm clouds gathered, swirling into twisted shapes that seemed almost alive. The air grew colder, charged. With a malevolent energy, the Guardian stirred, sensing the rising threat. It moved toward the ancient seals embedded in the vault's walls. Massive stone runes glowing as the creature traced them with its colossal hands. Myra followed, feeling the weight of the moment. Can it hold the Shadow Tide back? Kiran shook her head. Not alone. The seals are ancient and powerful, but they're failing. We'll need to find a way to reinforce them, maybe even combine our technology with the Guardian's power. Kai looked to Mira. If the Shadow Tide breaks free, it could consume everything. We're not just fighting for Earth anymore. We're fighting for survival itself. The team worked feverishly, searching the vault for artifacts or devices that could strengthen the seals. The tablets hinted at a convergence chamber, a place where the Guardian's power and the ancient technology merged to maintain balance. Finding it was a race against time. The Shadow Tide's influence spread fast, corrupting everything it touched. Plants withered, stones cracked, and shadows deepened, twisting into grotesque forms that seemed to flicker just beyond sight. One evening, as the team made camp near a glowing rune, strange whispers filled the air, soft voices speaking in a language older than humanity. The whispers crawled into their minds, stirring fears and doubts. Myra clenched her fists. Don't listen. Remember who you are. We're here to protect this world. Her words seemed to hold back the creeping darkness, but the threat was palpable. As the Guardian led them deeper into the vault, the team faced dangers unlike anything they'd imagined: corridors that shifted, traps that tested their resolve, and visions that preyed on their deepest fears. At last, they reached the convergence chamber, a vast, circular hall where ancient crystals pulsed with light, and the Guardian's form seemed to resonate with the very walls. This is where the Guardian draws strength, Kiran said, awe in her voice, and where the seals can be reforged. But as they prepared to activate the chamber's mechanisms, a shadow flickered at the edge of their vision, dark tendrils reaching out from the cracks, eager to consume. The fight to save Earth had only just begun. The convergence chamber hummed with raw power, its ancient crystals glowing brighter as the team prepared to reactivate the seals. Commander Mira Voss stood beside the Guardian, feeling the weight of the fate resting on their shoulders. The dark tendrils creeping at the edges of the chamber pulsed with malevolence, a stark reminder that the Shadow Tide was far from defeated. Kiran, start the reactivation sequence, Mira ordered, her voice steady despite the looming threat. Kiran nodded, hands flying over the alien control panel. The crystal's glow intensified, filling the chamber with an almost blinding light. The Guardian roared a deep, resonant sound that shook the very ground beneath them. But the Shadow Tide was not idle. From the darkness, shadowy forms surged forward, twisted, nightmarish creatures born of ancient cosmic darkness. They surged like a tide, flooding the chamber with blackness. Defend the chamber, Mira shouted, drawing her weapon as the team braced for the assault. Kai Kai fired his pulse rifle, the blue beams cutting through the shadowy figures but only slowing their advance. The creatures seemed immune to normal weapons, dissolving into mist before reassembling moments later. The Guardian stepped forward, its massive form glowing with the power of the crystals. It raised a colossal fist, sending a shockwave that shattered the advancing shadows. For a moment, hope flared, but the shadow tide was relentless. Its tendrils lashed out, striking the Guardian and the explorers alike. Myra felt a surge of dark energy brush against her mind, whispering fears and doubts, attempting to break her spirit. "Hold your ground," she yelled, pushing the whispers aside. "Remember who we are." Kieran continued the sequence, sweat beading on her forehead. The chamber's lights pulsed faster as the seals began to reform. The Guardian's energy radiated, intertwining with the crystals in a brilliant dance of light. Suddenly, the chamber shook violently. A massive shadow beast, larger and more terrifying than the rest, lunged toward the team. Myra barely dodged its crushing claws. Kai shouted, "We need to disrupt its connection to the shadow tide. Target the core." The team focused their fire, but the beast's dark form absorbed the energy. Growing stronger, the Guardian roared again, stepping between the creature and the explorers. Its glowing eyes locked on the beast, and with a burst of power, it unleashed a wave of radiant energy that tore through the darkness. The beast howled, retreating into the shadows. The tide seemed to recede. Kieran shouted, "The seals are nearly restored." Just a few more moments. Myra kept watch, weapon ready, heart pounding. The shadow whispers grew louder, desperate and furious. Finally, with a surge of light, the crystals locked into place. A brilliant barrier of energy flared around the vault, pushing back the shadows and sealing the cracks. The chamber fell silent. The oppressive darkness vanished. The Guardian's massive form softened, the glow fading to a steady pulse. It looked down at Myra, eyes filled with gratitude and a new understanding, double quotes, "You, saved Earth," it rumbled. Myra smiled wearily. "We saved it together." As the team caught their breath, Myra's cum crackled with a message from the surface, "Commander Voss." The voice said, "We've detected unknown signals emanating from beyond Earth's orbit. Something is watching." Myra's expression hardened. "Then our fight is just beginning." The myth had awakened, and with it, forces from beyond the stars were stirring. But humanity had proven it could stand beside ancient legends not as victims, but as protectors, and whatever came next, they would face it together. The silence that followed the battle in the convergence chamber was heavy but filled with a cautious hope. The Guardian's steady pulse of energy resonated like a heartbeat beneath the earth, a symbol of balance restored for now. Commander Myra Voss stood among her team. Her gaze lifted toward the vault ceiling where ancient carvings seemed to glow faintly in response to the chamber's renewed power. "We did it," Kieran whispered, still awed by the technology and the raw power they had just witnessed. "The seals are reforged. The shadow tide is contained once more. But it won't stay buried forever," Kai said, his voice low with unease. "The signals from orbit. Something's out there, waiting." Myra nodded, her mind racing ahead. Their mission had started as an archaeological expedition, but had quickly become a fight for Earth's survival land now. The fight was far from over. "We've awoken the myth," she said. "And that means we're part of a legacy far bigger than ourselves." The Guardian knelt beside her, its massive form casting long shadows across the chamber floor. "Legacy, protectors, must teach." Myra understood. The ancient creature wasn't just a relic or a weapon. It was a sentinel and a teacher and embodiment of Earth's memory and strength. The myth was alive, and with it came the responsibility to pass on its knowledge. We'll share what we've learned, Myra promised. Humanity needs to remember who we are and what we're capable of. Outside the vault, the world began to breathe again. The storms calmed and the earthquakes softened to distant rumbles. Life would recover, but the scars of awakening would remain. The ruins had become a symbol, not only of the past, but of the future. Mira looked at her team exhausted, but unbroken. We return to the surface, but this is just the beginning. There are others who will come searching, and we must be ready. Kieran smiled faintly. The myth isn't just a story anymore. It's a guide. Kai checked their equipment, already scanning the skies, and the stars are watching. As they ascended through the winding tunnels, the Guardian followed quietly. A silent sentinel guarding both past and future. When they reached the surface, the alien sky stretched above them, a vast canvas, filled with distant stars and the first glimmers of a new dawn. The ancient Earth they had rediscovered was alive with possibility. Mira turned once more toward the ruins behind them. Feeling the weight of what had been unearthed. We touched down on ancient Earth, she said softly, and we woke up more than a myth. We woke up a legacy. The Guardian's voice echoed softly in her mind, a whisper of promise and warning. Together, we endure. Humanity had faced its deadliest myth, survived. Now, it was time to rise as guardians of Earth's legacy, standing watch against the shadows that lurked beyond the stars. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. Earth's story was far from over. It was only just beginning.